It is our view that you should use a very light touch when you are hatching, when you're using the hatch command. This driveway through here, we could hatch the whole area, but we'd recommend that you just use a polyline to very approximately run around a small part of the zone that you want to hatch. And I'll take polar off now and come back through here like so, and then close. So we have a closed polyline. Now we can use the draw, we can use the hatch command, pick the object. If you need to, open the hatch pattern and choose, we want a brick pattern, a brick here, that should do us. Notice here that these, at a scale of 1, will pack 31 brick entities in it. That should not be taken as related to the size of the brick, but do make this just a little larger. I'll go to 10, that gives me 3. I aim for something in the region of 3, and then OK it, and in goes the hatching. Now you could argue that that's a little coarse, so just select it and change your hatch angle from what I thought was 3 to 10. So we'll go to 2, and now we've got a much finer hatching. Now that may or may not work for us. I'd probably double that, and by eye that looks reasonable. What I'd then do is to remove the polyline that's around there. You could even at this stage, if you so desire, pick the hatching and just move it closer to the corner. But I hope you see what we're driving at. That indicates that's a driveway. You're not overpowering the drawing with the hatching. We would use the same approach when dealing with hatching of the grassed areas, although in this case I've drawn the 2 polylines. You might well select them and opt to put some curve fitting on there to give you a smoother look. Now this time it's draw and hatch, and we'll pick the 2 polylines. You can do some multiple or hatch multiple areas. Right click, and we want a grass. Again, check your density. A scale of 10 gives a density of 3. That may work. We'll try it. We'll go OK. And if you look in here, 1 hatch pattern's gone in, but that scale's far too high, and we'll reduce it to a scale of 1 and unselect all. Let's remove our polylines. Whoops, need to select the polyline and not the hatching. Done it again. If that happens and you miss what you're after, hit the escape key, and we'll just try that again. Select the polyline. Clearly we have the polyline. What I'll do now is deliberately make the mistake, and I've selected the hatching. If you hold the shift key down and click, that removes the hatching from the selection set, and now I can pick the polyline. So both polylines are now selected, and I can unselect them. Silly. Not unselect them, I can erase them. So if you really want to be precise, you zoom right in and now erase. So the hatching to indicate the grassed areas is now in. You might want to change the colour of that hatching. You click on it, you've got both areas together, and that was what was causing me the grief before. We can now select, say, some sort of green for our hatch pattern. It doesn't show terribly clearly here, but it will when we go to plot. So that's the grassed area. If you wanted to hatch the area of the garden bed to provide some mulching, what you might be inclined to do then is to do a much larger polyline around the area, and we'll show you that in a moment. If we wanted to indicate some mulched area in the garden bed areas, what I've then done, changed the approach, and you remember we said hatch lightly. This time we'll hatch much more heavily. So got a polyline around the whole area, the whole garden bed area, and we'll draw and hatch, pick up the polyline, right click, and we'll select, just to illustrate, you don't have to leave, not every hatch pattern can be necessarily used for a particular purpose. A concrete will give me that sort of pattern, which is not unlike a pattern that you might use for mulching. So we'll try it. Scale of 10 gives us a density of 0.4. We may have to increase or decrease that scale to apply. So we go OK, and the hatching has gone in, but our scale is, I think we need to decrease it a little. Our scale went in at 1.4, so we'll go to 0.4, and now and then unselect all. You can see now we've got quite a dense layer of mulch. You'd probably want at this stage to select the polyline and delete it, and then you might then want to select the hatching and use tools and draw order and send that to the back. Now it's behind everything. The other thing I'd probably do is to check whether I've got a mulch layer, and I do. Remember to create a new layer. It's this button here. So there is a mulch layer. What I can do is select mulching, move it to the layer mulch, and you notice its color changes to a mulch-like color. And what you could then do, I think, is turn that layer off. Then that way we know it's there, we can turn it on at the print time, but it's not going to interfere with any future work. So you can see, use a little bit of care when you're hatching and approach different areas in a different way.